murder. What a figwana, what a figwana. All the masses of them are running for cover. What a figwana, what a figwana. All the children them are holla for hunger. Lord have mercy. Mama Africa. Yes, man. Sure. We can understand what one is and control nation now. Accent coming on now. Please start that one more time. I mean, I know. Sawalale, sawalale, lalete, sawalale, sawalale, lalete. What a figwana, what a figwana. Man a woman can get no food to eat. What a figwana, what a figwana. All the people of them are running for murder. What a figwana, what a figwana. All the masses of them are running for cover. What a figwana, what a figwana. All the children them are holla for hunger. Lord have mercy. Mama Africa. Yes, man. Sure. We can understand what one is and control nation now. Accent.
Now the country, Ambassador Benedict Onocha Amobi. His Excellency Ambassador Amobi, you are welcome to this grand occasion. A round of applause for the ambassador. Your Excellency, Nigeria welcomes you here tonight. Next on the list of dignitaries that are here is the man who has been shouldering this organization for the past 1 year. He is none other person than the president of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm. He is an industrialist, a humble man, a hard-working Nigerian, a Nigerian that a whole lot of us would like to emulate. Mr. Dominic Eweme, president of Nigerian Union in Stockholm. Welcome to the House. So behind every successful man, there's always a woman, they used to say. But sometimes I do think that the women actually are ahead of the men, sometimes. In this regard, the success of the president of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm is directly attributable to his wife too, who has been very, very active in the organization, helping putting things together. So I would like to welcome Mrs. Eweme to the high table too, if there's someone around here. Sana Eweme. Mr. and Mrs. Osai. Mr. and Mrs. Uchi. Welcome to the right. Mr. Floyd Dixon, please advance to the high table. Mr. Dixon. Mr. and Mrs. Joe Price. Mr. and Mrs. Ayola. Mr. Chris Alhaji. Mr. Chris Alhaji. Mr. Mrs. Frank Osara. Mr. Chris Obakaro. Mr. Chris Obakaro. Mr. Chris Obakaro. Sorry. Mrs. Ali. Mrs. Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attentions, please? May I have your attentions, please, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Johanna. A round of applause for Mr. Johanna. A round of applause for Mr. Johanna. Mr. Casey Usopo. Chairman Casey Usopo. Colonel J.I. Jipe. A round of applause for the Colonel J.I. Jipe. Mr. George Owonta. Mr. George Owonta and family. Mr. and Mrs. Oliver. Mr. Dembo Torre. Dembo Torre.
Mr. Dembo Height.
on the go of camp. National anthem for Nigeria. Everybody stand down. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The Secretary, Mr. Tunde Oduola. Mr. Tunde Oduola, Secretary, is the Secretary here. He should please advance for recognition too. In the absence of the Secretary, I move on to the Assistant Secretary, Mr. Junior Ogbona Iko. Mr. Iko. Mrs. Lydia Akinwale is the treasurer of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm. Mrs. Akinwale, please advance for recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our proud treasurer, Mrs. Akinwale. Thank you, madam. The cultural secretary is a man that is a face talker. Madam Elizabeth Kalonji is the social secretary. Madam Kalonji, please advance for recognition. You're welcome, madam. Madam Kalonji. Ladies and gentlemen, the social secretary of the Nigerian Union in Stockholm. Figure here in Sweden. He is a friend of Nigeria. I see him here every year, helping us to celebrate our independence day celebrations. He's a smooth talker.
I greet you in the name of Africa and the people of the African diaspora in Stockholm. I wish you a very happy anniversary. The Nigerian people have gone through a lot, and as you celebrate your anniversary today, I think that it is proper to remind yourselves of the resilience that you have shown not only the people of Africa but to the world. You have gone through a lot of contradictions and tribulations, and yet I dare say that you have come through stronger. You have come through a more united nation, and all Africans around the world are very proud of the way the Nigerian state and the Nigerian people hold themselves because of their focus, because of their pride, because of their patriotism, because of their commitment to whatever they put themselves to do. And because of that, we are proud of you. And because of that, on this great day, as you celebrate your anniversary, let me now say that you will Security Council. I'm not saying so just because I happen to be a neighbor of Nigeria. I'm not saying so not just because I happen to be with you celebrating your anniversary. I'm saying so because of the strength that Nigeria has shown in terms of its leadership, in terms of its own internally generated budget funding, and in terms of its strength that it shows to the people of Africa. I think it's important that we put forward Nigeria's name. On the African level, I think it is equally important to remind ourselves that we have a great task ahead of us. The plague of HIV, the plague of tuberculosis, and the plague of malaria is something that the African leaders and African states need to recommit themselves and reassure themselves to ensure that we come to terms with those sicknesses. But also it is important that as we get nearer and closer to 2015, the Millennium Development Goals, of which many African countries certainly will not achieve, becomes not only one of those paperwork that is put in front of our head of states and never achieved, but as we reach 2015, I think we need to recommit ourselves to ensure that we reach the Millennium Development Goals. Even if we don't reach them by 2015, I think every nation of Africa, every head of state of Africa with some self-respect has to put forward some concrete plans as to how they will reach that. Especially that one of making sure that all children are able to go to school.